Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Whatever Whenever, the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want. I'm Robin.
And I'm the Mentok, the prophet, YouTube savior. But I guess I'm just Mentok here. I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, what do you want to talk about today, Mentok? I know I gave you a list of topics earlier.
Well, first thing,
Yeah?
are you the whatever and I'm the whenever? Is that how this works?
I guess so, yeah.
Is that was the intention, or is that just a nice little bonus that we got with it?
Uh, yeah, I guess that was a bonus. I didn't think of that.
Well, okay, so we have a few topics, but since this is our first one, I figured we do kind of a background at first.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's jump into a topic
Okay.
first, and then we'll talk about ourselves later. Because if this is your first time listening, you probably don't give a shit about us.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these topics.
Yeah, true. All right. So how about that GTA trilogy?
Yeah, so I have my opinions are all over the place with that. So
Yeah.
um, just to bring the topic in, I think a lot of people look back at GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas as like this holy trinity, and I think that they're very well made games, and without those, Grand Theft Auto wouldn't have propelled to the popularity it has today. But we have this port that was released in less than great condition. But I kind of want to bounce that topic onto you, Robin. Like I think that the product was poorly made. Clearly, Rockstar or Take Two or whoever was managing it wasn't really looking into the studio that they got in place to work with it. But do you think that the internet is overreacting?
Um, I think I'm like mixed on this. I think that it's like on one hand, I think the internet is a little bit overreacting, but for the most part, I think they're kind of justified because like think about it, because they released this like broken port of like this game that was like just the mobile versions that they put on instead of like the actual main versions, and it had like bugs, and it seemed like pretty slapped together. And on top of that, they removed the original versions, so you couldn't even get those anymore. And they were
Right.
like, this is the only one you can get. You can't get the original versions on PC or anything.
Right. So that part I thought was kind of scummy, and I think that kind of gets into like an argument of game preservation,
Yeah,
which I think is very important. Uh, but before I guess we sway it off topics, I think that they're probably going to be patching it, but it looks like it's one of those things that is not going to be fixed
yeah,
fully.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I just think it's like funny, like some of the like things that I've seen where they messed up. Like, in San Andreas, there's like this donut shop called like Tough Nut or whatever, where it has like yeah, it has a
Yes.
giant donut, and then it has like a nut that you would use for like building a building or something, right? I don't know how tools work,
Right.
and it seems like they literally just made everything smooth in the game because even like the nut on that building is a circle and not an actual nut. It looks like they just went, okay, smooth everything smooth.
Yeah, they clearly ran it through some AI program that wasn't tweaked properly for the experience. And when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, I like this model style. I didn't think that. I was questioning that at first when they said they're remastering it. I'm like, okay, does this mean that they're gonna have upgraded models to look like at least GTA 4 or whatever? How's it gonna look? Those are three big games and stuff, and I kind of like the art style that they went with. It's kind of like a simi type of look.
Yeah,
And so when I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, cool. I may not buy this, may or may not.
yeah, like
It wasn't on my top three, but I was kind of excited. And then seeing the Metacritic score now at what, point 5?
yeah, it's like 0.5 for like the fan score,
Oh
and like
man.
42 for the actual like overall score. I think last time I checked.
I mean, I guess like on one side, the internet has to overact or just be very loud for companies that make a ton of money to do anything these days. So
Yeah.
on one side, I'm okay with it. On the other, point 0.8 Metacritic score. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I like. I think it was like kind of like in hindsight, we can look at the fact they only showed like a minute of gameplay with like maybe 20 seconds for each game across like all the trailers they showed. I think that was kind of like the biggest red flag, but I mean, it's Rockstar Games. We didn't really question it because they
Right.
have like this huge reputation for making like only pure quality.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean like
I wasn't even aware that a different team was working on it until it was released.
yeah, I didn't
Um,
either. Like it was made by Grove Street Games, which is like a subsidiary of them, and they're like they
yeah.
were I forget what other name they had, but they were like they were named something else at first, and they were the company that handled the mobile ports of the game, which uh, I guess explains why the mobile ports were used in the trilogy.
Yeah. I think that's what they used as the basis.
Yeah, they did because like they had the trilogy has a bunch of glitches on top of having its own set of like bugs and glitches in the game. It has like a bunch of glitches that were exclusive to the mobile port, like with like when you're in the water, CJ will like float above it instead of actually being submerged in the water like he would in the normal game.
I actually saw I retweeted this one because I thought it was
Oh,
funny. Um, so there was a San Andreas bug as well, similar to what you were saying, but just with a different medium.
yeah.
CJ's on a bike, and he's pedaling, and I think if you use the look over the shoulder button, I'm not sure what the conditions were, but I think it's when they press the look over the shoulder button so you can look behind you. Um, the camera just zooms in on CJ's face.
I've seen that one.
And so it's just his face just like swaying back and forth on this bike, and he just has like this small little smirk on his face. So
Uh,
as the police are like chasing him,
I've seen,
it's
oh
hilarious.
yeah, I've seen that one. That's so good. Have you seen the Invisible Bridge?
I have not seen that
Okay,
one.
there's like this bridge in like the forest area that like depending on the angle you look at it, it may or may not actually be there, but its collision is still there so you can still drive across it. So you got all these videos of people just driving across nothing to the other side of the like cliff.
I mean, I thought those would be like the easiest games out there to port, but I think honestly, I think people think a lot of remasters are just development on easy mode, which sometimes, to their credit, it's a little bit harder than you would think, because it's not like there's a machine that you can just put it through and then boom, it works for PS5.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
especially if you're porting it from like a Nintendo device from back in the day, or even older Sony tech. I mean, I guess maybe like porting from even like Sony has issues with that. I'm not saying that they can't do it, but backwards compatibility is becoming more and more of a problem. Um, as each generation goes on. So I think similarly, there was a lot of outrage for Sonic Colors Ultimate, which I didn't have any issues with when I was playing it. I was playing the PS4 version on PS5.
yeah. Well, I
Um,
mean, like even the Switch version, which was the most buggy version, like with that game, like it seems like a lot of the glitches and stuff were overblown to the
right.
point where everyone's favorite like jerk, Aaron Hansen, specifically got the Switch version so he could make fun of all the bugs. And in his playthrough of the game on Game Grumps, he was like, "This is bullshit. Why isn't the game glitching out? Why isn't it doing a game breaking bug?" He was so disappointed that the game wasn't broken.
Are we gonna criticize Game Grumps? Maybe I can get to the Game Grumps topic
Yeah, yeah,
later,
maybe.
because I have strong feelings about that
Ah,
as well.
yes, same here.
Um,
We can do that later.
okay,
Yeah,
but I guess back to Sonic Colors Ultimate. I played it and I'm just like expecting. I think that Twitter will see one random person experience bugs and they're like, oh my god, how could this happen? Look at this trash, and like it just next thing you know, 2.7 thousand likes on someone that just posted a bug about Sonic Colors. It's like sometimes people just want things to fail.
yeah. I think
And while I'm not defending Sega or Blind Squirrel Games who worked on it, and they worked on the Mass Effect Legendary Trilogy, by the way.
Oh.
Same company worked on that port, which got amazing reviews. And a lot of people love that remaster, I guess, of the whole Mass Effect trilogy.
Yeah.
But with Sonic Colors, we see like a few of these glitches. They went and patched them. I haven't heard anybody complain since. And we just have all this bad publicity. I feel like the damage was done based around like maybe one or two glitches that, I mean, granted, were pretty bad ones, but
Yeah.
I looked into it further, and you have to understand that like this is a port from the Nintendo Wii, and everyone's wondering what's going on with the lighting. Oh, why does it look so different, and et cetera, et cetera. And you find out that, you know, Nintendo had these specific lighting engines going on in the Wii in general. So you can't do like a one-to-one of that Nintendo specific tech. Like, you have to port it properly and try to emulate that. And I think that's a lot of the struggles with remasters that people are having these days, especially with much older tech. You know, a lot of that inbred software or engines and stuff like that, those are all defunct and outdated. And how do you translate that? You know,
I think it's just like part of that is that people have like rose tinted glasses that they refuse to ever take off when it comes to like older stuff in general. Like they'll be like, oh, this doesn't look exactly like how Mega Man looked on my old CRT back in the day, and it's like
right?
yeah, or like oh, this isn't how I remember GTA 5 looking on the Xbox 360. You know?
Right. And you can only emulate that or just put in your Mega Man cartridge into your Super Nintendo on your CRTV.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how do you expect to get that same effect on an HD TV widescreen 16:9? Like, how do you think that? I don't understand how people think that it's so easy to translate that. And, you know, also you have, like, if you're throwing Mega Man on PS5, just immediately, the thing's going to run at, like, 200 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, like, there's way too much processing power, so you have to figure that process out, too.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot that goes into remasters, and I think that we don't talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially, like, in the, you know, the gaming social media space.
Yeah, and I mean, like, speaking of, like, you know, like, frame rates and all that, like destroying the game's, like, processing power. I saw this video from, this guy, Dark Viper AU, I think, where he was, like, showing off, like, some, like, things you didn't know about GTA 5 or something like that, and one of those was that, like, the game actually, like, like, some missions will break if you have a high enough frame rate. Like, he showed it, like, at, like, the first mission I think you get from, like, Simeon or something, where, like, he's, like, with the guy out front of the building, right? And he's like, he, like, puts his hand on, like, the roof of the car, and, like, at 30 FPS it, like, just stays still. At 60 FPS the car kind of moves forward a little bit, and then he showed it at, like, the frame rate completely unlocked at 120 FPS. The car moves forward and the mission instantly fails.
That makes sense,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like a slight frame rate difference.
Yeah, like,
will screw you over in that sense, right? How do you account for that across 3 games
yeah,
and hours worth of, like, gameplay, you know?
yeah, like, that's something that, like, a lot of people need to, like, understand. Like, I think it's, like, this phenomenon, I forget what it's called, but it's like when the people, like, the less they know about a topic, the more they think they know about it, and the more they know about it, the less they're sure they understand it. I think it's that kind of thing going on.
I think a lot of that happens, especially on Twitter, though. That's
Yeah, no, especially Twitter. There's a reason.
How could they let this happen?
There's a reason I left.
And honestly, I think the approach that I take, especially since I create my own content, I think that negativity does bring in views, but I don't think that avenue is worth taking for me, because I understand that these developers are also human, and nobody wants to make something and put it out there and be like, man, you know, this is trash, but I got my money anyway. Like, I think at a developer level, I'm not saying everybody feels that way, but most of the time people want to do good work. They want to put out good stuff. And And I can only think that I was working on a project and I put it out, and then the entirety of Twitter is laughing at me and saying how horrible this is, and oh, how could they let this happen when you spent months of your life working on it. I do think that criticism is important, but I've seen a lot of trash talk, and I can't imagine how like these testers and developers and all these people who spent months of their life working on these things feel when they're put in a situation like that, you know? So I take criticism basically with the facts. Like, here's the bugs. Hopefully they fix this. Unfortunately, this happened, and I take that approach rather than, man, let's go destroy Metacritic and Twitter and at the developers and their families, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
So
I'm not like it's one thing to like review bomb a game. Like it's one thing to do that. It's another thing to like go at like the people who made the game, like to like harass them on social media and stuff. You should don't do that. Be like be
right,
smart. Have a brain in your head. I know you do. You just don't like to use it. Please start using it. Yeah.
exactly. So and hopefully this, hopefully Rockstar or Take Two, whoever's managing this, um, gets some bugs patched out, and it's like it's a playable
Yeah.
product. And
I,
I think that the good workaround here is to put the originals back up so people at least have
yeah.
that.
Well,
I'm
they
pretty
are
sure those weren't flying off the shelves, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's like the whole conspiracy I'm hearing right now because they did announce they are putting those games back up on the storefronts.
right.
I heard like the whole conspiracy meme that's going around Twitter and YouTube right now is like, oh, Rockstar intentionally released this broken port so that way they could resell the originals because now that like the trilogy is a broken mess, people are gonna want to buy the older ones because they couldn't before because we took it off the market. And it's like, dude, you need to stop watching Infowars, dude.
Right. Where is Infowars these days? Is he still on iTunes? Like, what's going on with that boy
I don't
Alex?
know. I think he only has like his own website now because everyone else just banned him off everything.
That guy was eating for a good while, though. I mean, man, like you just go to his freaking, you see, you see his show, and it's like all his products are just on the table as he's talking. I want to get to that level where I just have that many sponsors and they're just sitting there on the desk and behind me and stuff. It's just
Just chilling.
I would do it ironically though, just stacked with products around me, just
Yeah,
watching it cave in on onto my camera
yeah,
area.
dude, that guy is like, he's insane, and like nothing he says is true. Please don't believe anything he says, but he is like utterly hilarious to like watch when he has like his full blown mental breakdowns and stuff.
If you don't take it seriously, it's
Yeah,
entertaining. But if you actually believe things he's saying,
yeah, like if
it's kind of dangerous,
yeah,
right?
if
But
you believe that like there's vampires in like the United States government or something, like maybe we might want to calm down a little bit. But
he's in a lot of trouble right now,
oh,
though.
is he?
Yeah, he's been dealing with that Sandy Hook lawsuit from those parents for a good while.
Oh yeah, I heard about
I
that.
I forgot exactly what he said, but he was sued for, was it defamation? Something very similar to
Yeah, I
that.
think he did the whole crisis actor thing.
Yeah, and he lost like every single lawsuit.
Yeah,
So,
and he lost his custody of his kids too. Did you hear about that? Yeah,
ouch.
like his
No, I did not hear that.
he got in a divorce with his wife, and then his wife like used clips from Infowars to show that he is not suited to be a father.
So I tell people, you got to be very careful with your public image. I mean, even if it's a gimmick, it's very easy to just like go to the dark side and, oh man, this video made me a ton of views. All right, let me just be the villain.
Yeah,
And then you end up like destroying your life, even though you're famous and popular and you have money coming in. You're destroying your life at the same time.
yeah,
It's a fine line.
it's a story I've seen way too many times on the internet.
hmm Um, but yeah, I guess speaking of assholes, I guess we want to transition into the Blizzard stuff.
Oh yeah, that would probably be. Yeah, that's a good transition. Uh, I just want to say I've never been more happy to have never been a fan of anything put out by Activision or Blizzard. Like,
Strangely enough, I have not been a huge buyer of their products either. Not like now that I think about it, like I guess the major franchises that I invested in were Crash and Spyro very recently though.
Yeah.
Um, those guys used to belong to other developers a long time ago, like Naughty Dog and Insomniac. But yeah, right now I'm not really a big Call of Duty guy, and I'm not an Overwatch dude. I'm not playing World of Warcraft or Diablo.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I guess for some background for everyone who doesn't know, Activision-Blizzard, which they were two companies and they merged at some point to become Activision-Blizzard and not just Activision and Blizzard. They are these two like huge gaming companies that have had a lot of not really good stuff exposed about them, including lots and lots and lots of sexual harassment in all of their studios. And one employee was harassed so bad that she ended up killing herself on a work trip, and like just complete like pay disparities. Like the CEO makes is like so overpaid it's not even funny, and a lot of the women are paid like a lot less than the men at that company as well.
right.
Yeah.
So and as a um, quick side note here, they were the most profitable game company in the world up until this
Oh, I
year.
didn't know that.
They were overtaken by Roblox. um, I'm pretty sure that these scandals had something to do with it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, first off, they were the most profitable game company for a very long time. Especially you have a new Call of Duty dropping every year, and then you had Warzone, which is a games as a service. Much like Fortnite, you can just have tons of money churning into that thing constantly. The second thing was I did not know Roblox was making that much money.
Yeah.
I knew it was like a very popular thing. Roblox, honestly, I'm aging myself here a little bit, but Roblox was like a little after my time. I probably would have been all over that stuff
I
like
played it like
in my younger
I
days.
played it like
but-
a little bit when I was like 13 until it gave my computer a virus and then I stopped playing.
I'm glad that they've cleaned up their act a little
Yeah.
bit.
Uh
But I guess back to Blizzard. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to me that they were a witness to all of that stuff and expected nothing to go wrong.
yeah, like they
Especially the CEO Bobby Kotick, who I've never liked, by the way. I've never liked that guy.
he's always seemed like a
Um,
weird greasy guy to me, honestly.
Yeah, he's like the poster boy of
Of like everything wrong with it.
of money,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like-
in gaming, like corrupt money in gaming. I think that he made a lot of headlines. I guess maybe around 10 years ago, maybe 10 plus, because that was the time. That was the PS3 era, Xbox 360 era. They were putting out a lot of new games at microtransactions, right?
Yeah.
So that's when it was huge. Like everything was a microtransaction. How can we add this? How can we add that? And gamers were fighting back. And at the time, definitely they weren't ready for it. And then eventually it somehow snuck its way in, right? It started with cosmetics and now it's much bigger now. We have games as a service where it's free to play, but if you want like any type of enjoyment out of it,
Better fork over some
you're gonna have to pay at
cash.
some
Yeah.
point, right? But he was the one that kind of led the charge on all of that, and he was trying to do a lot of things with Call of Duty. I think that was the time where they were saying if you have to buy the game to get a multiplayer code to play multiplayer.
Yeah.
That was the thing that was going
Yeah,
around
that
for
was
a good while
that
too.
was like yeah, I forgot that was a thing for a while where like all these game companies like randomly decided, okay, we're gonna fight the used game market. Like
Mhm.
that was like perhaps one of the stupidest like decisions I've ever seen an industry do. It's like if it's like if at the height of Blockbuster, if like all these movie companies decided to fight video rental services. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of how much of the market used games were eating up at the time, but I'm very doubtful.
Yeah.
that it was a lot.
I
And I think, because you have to look at it this way. When a new game came out, let's say there was a new Call of Duty, they're selling it for $60 for PlayStation 3. You go into a GameStop and they're like, yeah, but you can get the used version for $53. Like when it's new.
yeah.
Like when it just came out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'll have some people opt for that, but it's really not that much of a difference. So,
Well, the difference in that case is that if it's used, all the money goes straight to GameStop and not the publisher. So I kind of
right.
understand that, but it's not like that big of a difference overall.
You just have to wonder, like, what made them think, oh, well, this is going to be our first financial plan of attack here. We got to get rid of the used game market.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of discussion over digital-only consoles coming out, too, and I think Microsoft even jumped on that. And again, the market wasn't ready for that. We were not in a place where people were embracing that. I think next generation, if both or all three consoles came out digital only, I don't think anyone would really have an issue with that. Well, sorry. I think a majority of the market wouldn't have an issue with that. Versus 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when they were like, yeah, we're thinking of making Xbox One.
Yeah, Xbox One.
We're thinking Xbox One going to be totally digital. And everyone's like, hell no, man.
Yeah.
Get that out of here.
Yeah. But yeah, Bobby Kotick was also the guy who said that, like, basically said, we hear you, and never addressed, like, what the actual issue is when the whole, like, Blitzchung thing happened. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Elaborate on it a little bit. I need a refresher on that.
There was, like, this competitive, like, pro Overwatch player who was from Hong Kong. This is during the Hong Kong protests. His name was Blitzchung, and he said like in like his native language. I forget what he was speaking. Chinese, obviously. He's from Hong Kong. But like he said something like into a camera, like revolution of our times, free Hong Kong, or something like that. And Blizzard reacted by banning him from competitive for like a whole year, and like withholding prize money and everything from him. And after like multiple employee walkouts and like multiple people online saying what the hell is wrong with you, they reduced it to just a 6-month ban, and I think they gave him like some of prize money. I don't think that was ever like really resolved. And when they had BlizzCon, the convention for like Blizzard games and stuff like that, Bobby Kotick came out on stage and was like, he didn't address what happened at all. Like he just said, we are sorry for that thing that happened. We hear you. We'll do better. Like, you know, a total corporate non-statement essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's been doing that all throughout this scandal too, until
like
the Wall Street Journal put out something that incriminated him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he started having a meltdown on Twitter. So, so just for everyone's awareness, while all of these allegations of sexual harassment was coming out of Blizzard, especially, I think it was mostly Blizzard. I feel that for some reason that was baked into their culture.
It was like it was seen as like a mostly Blizzard thing. Like like they kind of like shoved it as like it's only Blizzard, but as we've learned more and more, it's like coming out that it's a part of like more Activision studios as well, like Treyarch, the people who made Call of Duty and stuff, or like one of the Call of Duty studios. They have like 3 studios and they release a different game every year.
And I'll get back to Blizzard in a second, but just to put the cap on our friend Bobby here, good old Uncle Bobby. So he's been putting out all these statements saying, oh, well, I can't believe that this has been happening, and we're going to do our best to be a better company, et cetera, et cetera. Very CEO-based stuff, both internally and externally, right?
Right.
But I guess sometime last week, the Wall Street Journal puts out an article saying that he was complicit in a sexual harassment case against one of his higher-up employees. So I guess like a C-level employee was reported for sexual harassment, and he wanted to protect the job of that employee, and instead of addressing it, paid off the employee that reported it And I think it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even like maybe over a million, something like that. I can't remember the exact cost, but it was a ton of money.
Yeah.
So basically, that's number one, hush money there.
Yeah.
But he also threatened her, apparently, with some mafia-like comments, like "I will kill your family if you say anything," or some
Well, I
craziness like that.
he left like a voicemail to her and said like I'm gonna kill you, like
Hmm.
yeah, and it wasn't just that he was like protecting other people. He protected like the pilot of his private jet. Like the flight attendant on his private jet was like, "Hey, your pilot is sexually harassing me," and then his response was to immediately fire her instead of like
Right,
actually take care of that situation.
right. And so I encourage everyone to go check out that article because it's very interesting, and
Yeah,
I think I'll speak for just the gaming community rather than all communities, because I know this happens in tons of industries, right?
yeah,
This is something that just needs to get called out and kind of die out in a workplace, because it's just the the longer I'm on this earth, the more I realize that this shit is everywhere,
yeah.
and that's a
It's
problem, right?
it's like you never notice this stuff when you're younger, and then like especially recently, like as an adult, you're like seeing this stuff everywhere, and you're like, oh, I get, yeah, it does happen, doesn't it?
Right. And so these people who think they're untouchable, and like here's the double-edged sword with Activision and Blizzard, right? You don't have to go out and buy any of their games, but it's the developers that are going to feel the hurt.
Yeah,
These guys are so rich that they can say, "Man, you know what? I did mess up, but I'm going to resign," and they never have to stand up on their own ever again. They can just literally be carried everywhere with the amount of money that they have, and it's only hurting the people that didn't do
yeah,
anything,
and
really. Like it's that developer that makes $90,000, $100,000, who's gonna, feel the pain, and um, it kind of
yeah,
sucks. Like how do you send that message?
yeah. Like
Um,
there's been like two like major walkouts from Blizzard and from Activision, both of which they have and continue to call for Bobby Kotick to resign. And
right.
even if he is removed from power, it's still going to be like an uphill battle, like fixing the company. And on top of that,
Yeah.
Bobby will probably just be like hired by some other company when everything's all over. Maybe not a game company,
Right. And
but like he'll still be hired eventually because he's just like rich and he makes people money.
so he's probably gonna wait for the fire to die down, and then yeah,
Yeah,
next thing you know, he's managing some mobile games company
yeah,
that's like out of the spotlight.
yeah. It's like offshore or something.
And I think as I'm talking about this, here's like a few solutions that I don't think Activision Blizzard is going anywhere. I think people saying otherwise are kind of sensationalizing it.
Sensationalizing it, maybe short-sighted on the issue.
Right. As you said, it's going to require a huge culture shift at Activision and Blizzard. But let's say that they remove all of these toxins from Activision and Blizzard, and they take the company on a different note. Um, I think that if developers are being hurt by this too financially, I think it's going to require Activision to go through some financial hurt for a bit. But I would love to see other game companies that are hiring step in and kind of poach some of these good developers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Recently, like both Sony and Microsoft have like, I don't know if it's just corporate talk or whatever, but they've both like condemned Activision and Blizzard and like have like sent out emails to like their companies' employees and saying we're going to be strongly reevaluating our relationship with Activision Blizzard over this whole thing, which I think that
Right.
like worst comes to worst, if like your two like biggest corporate partners like decide to pull out because you've been fucking up, that's gonna be like the biggest slap in the face to like, okay, we need to change shit. Because like
Yeah.
even recently, like they got like two like co leads, like a man and a woman, I forget their names, to like be the new leaders of Blizzard, and the woman quit because she was still being paid less. And then the man came out and was like trying to say, oh well, we agreed that like she would be paid like more or like the same amount as me in like a few months. And then she said, no, you only like offered that to me when I said I was quitting. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, how is it
And
like? And let me just say, this isn't like a thing where like they had like two different jobs. No, they had the exact same job. They were the co-heads of the company. Like, they should have been earning
right.
the same amount.
And I don't think it's gonna blow over for them. I think that
No.
they're doing the apologize and try to just
They're
sidestep this. I don't think this is gonna work. They are. At one point, I thought EA would be the one to get this type of
yeah.
you know, reckoning situation, but it is definitely Activision Blizzard. Like, this is not going away. This is in the public eye now, like outside of the gaming community too. This is like a huge,
Yeah, like this is like a
huge,
this is like
big business scandal.
yeah, this is like a mainstream thing. Like people,
Yeah.
like people outside of like, it's not just like gamers or like people who like are in the gaming community talking about this. It's like you got like people in like economics talking about this because of how all over the place their stock has been lately and stuff. And some of the stockholders, it's like a 0.6% I think who own it, but like they've been saying that like they're gonna like rally the other like stock trade people who like have enough to like actually mean something. They're gonna try and get like Bobby Kotick fired if they can, because
Right.
they've been like rallying against this too.
So, question for you,
Yeah,
because I didn't I thought this was a pretty silly response, but I mean, I guess that's the point of this whole podcast,
Yeah.
right? Bounce ideas. So, they decided to change the name for McCree, a character in Overwatch,
Yeah.
who was named after an employee named Jesse McCree, who was caught up in one of these scandals, and he since resigned and has gone to the wayside. And I think like it was like a week or two after the scandal, like, yeah, we're gonna be changing McCree's name. And honestly, I think that some people think that it was a good move. Like, why would we keep the name for someone named after, some offender here? But on the flip side, it's like, well, this is the least that you could do. Plus, nobody knew that it was named after that guy. For like, I think majority thought it was just a name of a cowboy like character, which this guy is in Overwatch. I also thought it was named after Mad Dog McCree, which is that old Western arcade shooter from back in the day. Like, that's what I thought the name came from. But what do you think of that response exactly? Like, I think as an immediate response, maybe it was just like,
I think
it felt like the least that they could do.
yeah, I think it was like a good decision, but I also think it was the absolute bare minimum. Like it wasn't just like McCree in the like Overwatch, who was just straight up named Jesse McCree. That was like his full name. There was also some like NPCs in like World of Warcraft and stuff who also had like the name Jesse or the name McCree, and they were all references to him, and those had to get their
Right.
names changed as well. I think that like, yeah, I think it's like good overall that they made the change. Like, don't honor that asshole at all. But I also
Right.
feel like they're just they like them doing that was their way of kind of like soft like addressing the situation, hoping it'll blow over. Like it has the same vibes of like a YouTube apology almost. Like yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where they're like uh like they sigh in the beginning. They're like, I really didn't want to make this video. I'm sorry for the bad thing I did. I'm going to donate $500 to charity, even though I'm a millionaire. Like that.
What did they change his name to again? They released it recently.
Yeah.
Was it like Cody something? Cody.
I don't.
Cody Cowboy.
I don't know.
Something like that.
I don't know. I just know that during like Overwatch tournaments, when the whole thing was going on, the announcers refused to call him by name and just said the Cowboy over and over. So that's just what I call him now.
His new name is Cole Cassidy.
Cole Cassidy.
Yeah.
All right.
Who was named after another sexual offender. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Okay. I was like, oh god, because that seems like something they would do.
No. So they said that they're never naming anyone after people ever again, which I think is a
Yeah,
great
it's a
idea,
yeah.
but it's like the fact that you can't even name anything after anybody in fear that they're gonna sexually harass somebody.
That's
Like that
yeah, like
means
that's yeah. Like I get the
there's something wrong
I
there.
get the intent behind that, but like also that that heavily implies that there's something very wrong going on.
Yeah.
And it's
So
yeah. I don't know. It's
I just think that again, it's gonna require a huge culture change, and I think that the gaming community curated that for a very long time. I think that it's changed quite a bit these days.
yeah.
I think I'm just remembering all the crap that I used to hear like on PlayStation Network and Xbox, like over
Yeah,
the
I know
headset.
exactly what
Like
you mean.
it was bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
So I see a better state now, but there's a lot of work to do in the gaming culture,
Yeah,
and
there's
hopefully we can be like more accepting and less toxic overall.
yeah. And I mean like at the very least, I think we should all be happy that that the people who idolized Bill Cosby do not work at Blizzard anymore.
Bro, don't get me started with Bill right now. Don't get me started with Cosby. Like, he was confident through the whole thing. He knew he wasn't staying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
All right, I think that's a topic for a separate podcast.
Yeah. Maybe if he's like in the news again or something.
Right. My man took a little vacation at jail for a couple of years and then went home to $1 billion mansion.
Yeah.
$1 million+ mansion.
The world is so fucked up.
Yeah, you kind of, I don't know, you see all these people that win, and you're just like, man,
Man.
there's no justice in this world. Ugh. But hey, we got to be better people to encourage more people to be better, in my opinion. And I'm trying to stay true to that at least, you know.
Yeah. I think that it's like all we can really do is just like hope that they fix their shit over the next couple of years and just try and do the right thing and
Spotlight's
yeah,
on Activision for sure,
but,
so
like,
we'll see how that works out.
yeah, let's hope that they learn to like not have a company where you treat people like shit all the time. Especially like
And let that be a lesson to the rest of the companies
Yes,
out there. I'm not
yes.
talking just gaming community. Pandemic changed things,
yeah,
man.
the pandemic like
Workforce is looking at like there's a lot of opportunities out there, and I think people are realizing their worth and value now. Like, if I hate it here, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
yeah.
And probably get paid more.
Yeah, like
you know,
I
so
saw that a lot with like a bunch of retail workers, especially like fast food workers. Like they realized because of like all the stuff where like companies were like making them like not do like all the health and safety things because they were scum. They just like were
Yeah.
like, okay, you know what, you don't care about our health and safety, then we're just gonna quit. And so you had like that meme going around of like all of the like Taco Bells and like McDonald's locations where they just had like a printed out piece of paper on the window or over the order thing that said that said the store is closed because everyone quit and no one wants to work.
Everybody
yeah,
quit.
everybody quit. Yeah.
I love seeing the signs like nobody works here.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
Yeah.
I'm just like, stick it to it, man.
Yeah.
You know, like, you actually see this culture growing on Reddit. Very interesting subforum called Anti-Work.
Really?
And it's not people who don't want to work, but it's people who think that the work culture right now, just like across the board, is just not healthy for anybody. And you see a lot of like posts in this forum where people are pushing back against their managers, and the manager will come back and just be like, hey, I want you to, or for instance, like a manager will reach out like, hey, I know this is short notice, but I want you to work on Saturday. And it's like, well, no, I told you I'm not working Saturday. Like this is the weekend, number one, and I have things to do with my family. I need family time or whatever. And you'll see managers just like, you know, blow a total gasket on the employee.
Yeah. Or like,
and say, oh, well, you're fired, or like they'll threaten to fire them because they can't accommodate for that, you know, that person. And that's basically what anti-work is. I encourage anyone to go check out that subreddit if you're having work troubles, because I think it's a very supportive group overall. Who knows what that subreddit might turn into in the next couple of years.
Yeah, like
right now it seems like a pretty healthy environment as far as like encouraging, you know, employees to get what they need out of their workplace.
Yeah. And it's not, I'm sure somebody probably thinks this, it's not like a fucking pro-anarcho-communist board or anything. Like,
right.
It's
not that. It can sound like that when you say anti-work. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do with our lives? But it's, you know, anti-work, like, you know, being put in conditions you don't want to be put in.
Yeah.
And
it's like,
I think a lot of people are wising up to that now, which is great.
Yeah, that's great. I think like COVID definitely like kind of changed the way a lot of people look at this kind of stuff, especially where like they realized, you know, like it's been like a like I feel like it's been like a kind of like joke for like years of like people being like, oh, they think we're expendable drones, you know, like all that stuff. But then like COVID happened and they were like, oh wait, they actually do think of us as expendable drones and not people.
Yeah. Like I can't afford my rent, or I can't pay my bill. Like I am being furloughed until further notice. Like they just really just threw a lot of these people under the bus. And when you realize like, oh, okay, it can get this bad. Yeah, I need to go. Like, you know, when shit hit the fan, you guys didn't have my back, so let me go somewhere else. And
yeah,
it's funny that McDonald's was like the first one to do it. They're like, yeah, we've increased our wages to like $15, or I think it's $12. I'm not sure if it's like that across the entire United States, but
I don't know. I know it's it's 15 over here because that's our minimum wage, but
right. So of course, me being in the penis of the United States, Florida, they've increased it to $12, which I think our minimum wage is like $9 out here. So, which that makes no sense to anyone. Yeah. But whatever.
I don't know. I think it's funny how we're like on the exact opposite ends of the country. Like you're over there in America's wang, and I'm over in Washington's head.
If you just draw like that, it's a long flight up there.
Yeah.
I have family in the Portland area, and like anytime I'm just like, all right, well, let's get on this plane. And it's just like, man, I'm in the same country.
Yeah.
It's such a long flight.
Yeah. Do you like do a thing where like you get off a plane and go on another one, or do you just go like the whole trip?
So I mean, it's most of the time you have to stop somewhere. Most of the time it's Atlanta for me.
Oh yeah.
But you can get a nonstop flight with Alaska Airlines.
Yeah, that's what I usually use is Alaska Airlines.
Yeah, I like to take it all in one go.
Yeah.
Pause. But I like to, just take it all and just fly out there for like 6 hours, I guess, or it's like a 5-hour trip, depending on where the wind takes you.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't flown anywhere in a while, actually. It's been like, I was kind of like becoming like a U.S. traveler for a hot minute there. Like, like I went to L.A., and then I went to Texas to go to that convention in 2019, and then the pandemic hit, so I couldn't go to New York. But yeah.
Right. I guess like pandemic aside, people underestimate how easy like traveling within the U.S. is. It's I think like if I had the choice, I'd just prefer to like hop states and just kind of explore things, because culture is very different in various states and the laws are different, and you get kind of like a a different experience every time you land somewhere else, except the deep south. I probably wouldn't go
Oh
there.
yeah, no.
But like outside of that, there's like a lot of cool places to visit, especially the big ones like Chicago, New York, LA, stuff like that, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Um, and it's easy to travel. Like you don't realize that until you like fly out of the country, because then that's like some immigration and passports and customs. And,
Yeah,
you
I wanna
know,
visit like Japan, maybe like Tokyo or something at one point, but I have to get a passport and stuff, and that takes forever and it's expensive.
yeah. I don't think you can get in there yet,
Yeah,
too.
I
So they haven't opened their borders yet.
yeah, they're like they're still like have an embargo or something, I think, going on right now.
Yeah, if you check like their flying regulations, it's like every country is just banned from entering.
Yeah.
But they have like this huge list. It's like a paragraph of countries.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man,
It's like, oh jeez.
I've just for the podcast, I've been twice, and it's like tourism was such a big thing. It was like exploding over there. People were just constantly flying in from all over the world.
Yeah.
It's just become more and more of a tourist place.
Yeah, I think they actually
Because it's so different. Culture is very different over there, and it's fun. It's amazing. It's like an amusement park.
Yeah, I think they like actually started like taking a big hit to their economy because of the tourism being so down.
Yeah. I think the one thing regarding Japan, like, and this pandemic, is the Olympics just really kind of flopped, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I know that they were planning a lot more, and there was this, back and forth about whether they should cancel it or postpone or whatever, and then they postponed it, and I really don't think that their heart was in it, because of course, like, you're dealing with a pandemic right now, you barely know if you were going to put it on in the first place, but they managed to get it out, but it just, all the things that were planned had to be scrapped, and I would have loved to have seen what they came out with, for like their opening ceremonies and like what the mascots were going to be and stuff like that. It just, it didn't work out.
Yeah. It sucks because like especially like when in 2016 it seemed like they had like this whole thing going on for it that was like big and planned out. They had like the president of Japan or like the prime minister like pop out of the Mario like pipe and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah, at the end of the last Olympics, that really set a precedent there,
Yeah.
and it just
They weren't able.
They couldn't deliver
Yeah,
on
they
it.
couldn't deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think now we could probably do some introductions a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we're an hour in, so we may as well tell people where we are. If you listen this long, then
Yeah.
you probably care now more than you did at the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
I'll be right back.
All right, for the people listening, I'm the Mentok, a YouTuber with, at this recording, probably about 11,400 subscribers. So I'm a very small time game right now. Robin started as, someone who stumbled upon my channel and has been a avid viewer for quite some time. And he reached out to me saying, hey, we should do a podcast together, because I have had Robin on my stream a few times. He's called me through Discord and has got me through the most frustrating moments of certain video games. So while I'm streaming and like really just trying to put the pedal to the metal and try to get through it, there's always going to be lulls in certain games when you're streaming. So Robin has called in and has talked about various topics and, presented me the idea of a podcast. So this is the first episode of that. And honestly, I think we're going to be recording a few more today. I'm on a bit of limited time, but I think that we are slowly getting through the topics that were planned. So if you want to check out my channel and you stumbled upon this one, I am the Mentok at YouTube. And mostly I do like variety content, but I have a focus on Sonic content. I'm a Sonic tuber at the end of the day, but I'm still like trying to find that niche. So working on a few things right now to get that in order. I have a new segment called Origin Oracle, where I'm jumping into a bunch of content regarding the origins of certain video game characters. So that's been pretty fun so far. Right now I'm focusing on Sonic characters, but we'll see what happens outside of that. And I'll see where where things go from there. So, in the meantime, we'll be recording these on weekends, and if you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, feel free to leave some comments, some feedback, how we can improve, because we're still getting the use to this. We're still getting the hang of this, so we have a decent relationship and decent chemistry here already. But I'm sure that will improve over time. This is only the first episode, so look forward to more. But yeah, right now we definitely want to talk about like the current topics that are going on, especially GTA and Blizzard, because those are the type of scandals we want to cover over here. So outside of that, that is what I do. If you would like to see my face and all that, check out the channel. I've been slowly improving my whole office area too. My whole studio area has just come so far. It's crazy. Like I started with my bed behind me, and just a microphone and my computer, and that was it. And it's just like it's expanded into LED lights and lights for my face and framed Sonic posters behind me and stuff like that. Maybe we should do like a whole Sonic podcast though. I wonder what Robin's opinions are on some of these guys. So yeah, that's the gist of it. So I hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and once Robin gets back, I'll let him talk his spiel a little bit, and I'm not sure how much he wants to share, but he's also been doing some content for some time, and I've been pushing him to keep it up, especially his writing. He's very good at that too, but I'll let him explain that when he gets back, which should be any minute now. If not, then I'll just sing a song. I think that's the one part of streaming though. Like I do live streams every so often. I see like the best streamers are super good at stalling. So if you're not good at stalling, don't bother stream at all. No, I'm just kidding. But I guess being able to sit there and stall and like try to keep people joining and draw out the content as long as possible to make sure that they're excited to hear what you're talking about, or they're excited to see you play that new game. Like there's some people who are just extremely good at stalling. I am not one of those people, because after a while you'll hear it in my voice that I don't know what to talk about next. But yeah, I mean, I also stream on Twitch too, twitch.tv/thementok. And I've been doing that a little bit less because my pride and joy is YouTube. And I guess like dealing with work-life balance plus all the streaming and editing and stuff like that, I'm hoping to one day just hire a full-time editor to help me with a video per week at a reasonable price. So it's just like, what do I do? Do I dedicate my time, or do I dedicate my money, or both? It's a fine line, especially when you're trying to grow as a content creator in this oversaturated space that is called YouTube. I think the ages of content creators like PewDiePie and Markiplier are dead. I don't think there's going to be any new Markipliers in this world. There's only one Markiplier. There's only one PewDiePie. And I think everyone like outside of that core group have kind of like died off. Like, the Jenna Marbles and Ray William Johnsons of the world and Grade A Under A or whatever his freaking name is. All those people have just kind of like faded. YouTube is changing. For the better, maybe for the worse. I don't know. I don't know how people feel about that, but that whole age of content creator and just blowing up as a celebrity, it's changed. I think now it's like the age of the streamer. Or people like Dream. I don't really know what Dream does. I know he does Minecraft content, but I'm pretty sure he does more than that now.
I'm back. I'm back.
Robin is back.
Okay. We're gonna have to cut out some.
Well,
what I miss.
I mean, I held it down for a very good time, for quite some time. I was them stall boys for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
what I miss.
Yeah, if you want to give them a little introduction on yourself, because they know more than enough about me now.
Cool. Yeah. I am Robin. I post things to my Newgrounds page, and I did make videos at some point, and then I kind of broke down a little bit and stopped. But I plan on doing those again at some point. But for right now, you can follow my Newgrounds. I am Robin on Newgrounds to see all the cool posts that I've been making. I did an interview with Andrew Allenson, the creator of Y2K, a postmodern RPG. That was cool. That's probably like the best thing I have there. um, yeah.
I'll be waiting for your interview with Bobby Kotick.
Oh god. If I can land that, that'll be fucking hilarious. But he won't.
You just just give him some lowball questions, lure him into a sense of comfort, and then just hit him with the hard.
And then just like, I've got to pick my word choice carefully here. Bombard him with questions relating to all the controversies. But yes, this podcast is being edited by my friend ZachJaDa.
Shout out to Zach.
Zach, thank you. Put in a clip of me saying something stupid. Cool. I'm sure that was that was funny. We don't see it. I'm
sure it was a very intellectual 5 to 10 second clip of Robin.
Yeah. And you know what? For good measure, do one with Mentok.
Oh no, don't hunt down my stuff.
Too late. It's in there. Unless
it's in there.
Unless he decided to be funny and just put himself saying, "Nah, I'm not doing that."
Well, Zach, you have like 98 videos to work with, so
yeah.
I'm sure you won't have to look very long. But yeah, shout out to Zach. Thanks for doing that. You want to be my full-time editor? All right, he'll answer that later. Yeah. I have to watch my own podcast to figure out the answer.
Yeah. All right. I think it's the end of this episode, isn't it?
Should we? You want to cap it off with one last topic? What time are we at?
I think
an hour and 3 minutes.
We're over an hour. I think we should be good. We'll save it for the next one.
All right, swell.
All right.
I'm excited for the next one, guys. But I'll do my sign off and then I'll let you take it over, all Robin. Right. Thank you guys for listening to our first podcast. Whatever, whenever, is it the opposite?
Yeah,
way?
It's whatever, whenever.
I remembered. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Whatever, whenever. I'm the whenever part.
This
is the Mentok. Be sure to listen out for us because we'll be doing multiple of these.
Yes.
And go ahead, whatever. I mean, Robin.
Yes. Yeah. I've been Robin. I still am Robin. Why did I say I've been? I'm Robin. This is the end of the first episode. Thank you for joining us. If you want to see more of us, then be sure to subscribe and all that. And if you want to see more of us individually, Mentok has a channel. You can subscribe to his channel. It'll be in the description. I have my Newgrounds in the description as well if you want to go there. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all later.
All right. Peace.
All right.